Welcome back to the South Pacific. You're watching the Billabong Pro Tahiti. Round 2 action continues. We skip round 2 heat number 9 because of the injury of Travis Logie. CJ Hobgood gets a walkthrough. So right into round 2 heat number 10, Miguel Pupo, the goofy footer from Brazil, current number 17 in the world, takes on the rookie from the Gold Coast of Australia, Mitch Crews, currently sitting number 25 on the planet. Joe Turpel alongside one of the most successful pro surfers of all time, Martin Potter, with 16 career CT victories. Potts, these guys are looking for their first major breakthrough win. What sort of advice would you give to a rookie like Mitch Crews with what he's done so far?
You know, just keep hammering away. That's all you can do. You know, make sure you focus on your game plan. Make sure you just do all the hard work. You know, make sure you do the training, get your headspace right, and just keep banging on that door, because eventually, you know, once you get your foot in it, once you break through with that first big result, and then you got to get the judges on side, and then you get that snowball effect.
As we check out Mitch Crews, 24 years of age, 5'11", 169 pounds, representing that wave called Snapper Rocks, where he got to have his rookie debut this year, and he had turned in his best result with an equal 9th. Paddling into the first wave, Mitch Crews can't catch up to it, but he wanted to get the quick start, challenging against a guy like Miguel Pupo, who's proven himself in big left-hand barreling conditions. How did you like the role of Pupo as we watch this? Mitch Crews will get another chance. Set up work to start, drawn out bottom turn, he has to kick out.
You know, Mitch wants to get the ball rolling. You know, he's got that whole thing of get that first wave under my belt, you know, just dust the cobwebs off, get those nerves out of the way. You know, he came off probably the first time he's ever surfed Chopu like that yesterday. He's probably still a little nervous, you know, so there are some big waves still coming through. So basically, Mitch just wants to catch waves. He wants to get that ball rolling early. You know, obviously priority not a big thing for Mitch. He just wants to get his feet in the wax ASAP.
Miguel Pupo, 22 years of age, 5'9", 149 pounds. Represents that radical pack coming out of Brazil. They made this statement called the Brazilian Storm a few years back when we started noticing they were coming in the numbers. There's a prime event at Lower Trestles where they dominated the event. Pupo ended up being the one winning over local boy Tanner Gudauskas a few years back. But we start adding up all the talent coming out of Sao Paulo and Santa Catarina, and they're a force to be reckoned with. At the moment, Peter Mel's in the boat with last heat winner Aritz Aramburu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joe. So Aritz, you know, 9.23 and 8.33, some high scores there. After watching this morning's heats, you know, probably weren't expecting to get that high quality waves. So were you thinking anything different in regards to surfing this heat that you would have, say, if it was perfect, like looking for barrels the whole time? Were you going to make any kind of adjustments, or was it always about the tube?
Well, I was, you know, I knew I was needing to wait for the big ones, because the medium ones and the small ones, they don't even barrel. So I've seen like a lot of the guys doing little mistakes, and they cost them a lot of hits. So yeah, luckily from the minute one, I started with a 9.2. So that gave me a lot of confidence, and I knew that I was needing to wait to try to get another bomb. But yeah, the heat went better than I expected. Both Freddie and me, we both get couple really nice waves. So yeah, stoked to be part of that heat, and I really enjoy it.
So your best result of your career was here at Chopo, a 3rd place in semifinals. So you drawing off that kind of inspiration for this year?
Yeah, it's a contest I really like. I really think that it suits my surfing really good. So I'm gonna try to do my best, and yeah, I need those results. So hopefully I go big in the next round as well and make some more hits.
Well, congratulations to Aritz. He's into round 3. Back to you guys. Hopefully some action in the water.
That'd be great, Pete. Thanks a lot, Aritz Aramburu, reflecting on those magical moments here at Chopu when he took out Kelly Slater in round 2 and kept that momentum going, building off that confidence to make that semifinal performance. It's been a few years since then, but the wave stayed the same, Potts.
Yeah, absolutely right. The wave remains the same, Joe. And Aritz is so amazing when the conditions get tricky. That's his forte. You know, as soon as you get these, you know, lumpy, bumpy, up and down conditions, really inconsistent, Aritz is a wave magnet, number 1, and you know he's going to get the waves, number 2. And today he just was on the bombs, and, you know, unfortunate for Freddie. Freddie came close, though.
Here goes Miguel Pupo on his opening wave of round 2. He pulls into the first section. It's pinching and breathing in and out. It'll take him out quickly on that first opening section. Pupo dealing with the impact zone, waited for that first wave to come through, and goes for an incomplete tube ride attempt. Was there anything he could have done to make that wave?
Yeah, I think he knew he was too deep, and his basically his escape route was inside the barrel. You know, the thing with Chopu, all that power going over the top of you, that's where you don't want to be. You don't want to be where Kai Otten was yesterday, right at the bottom with a lip on your shoulders. You're better off pulling inside that barrel, letting all the power go over, and hang on as long as possible until it knocks you off. So he did the right thing there. He wasn't going to come out of that one, but only realizing that once he was into it, and it was too late to do anything else.
Well, it's been fun reflecting back on some of the historical moments in Chopu history. We've been asking everyone about the heaviest wipeouts of their career out in this lineup. Potts, you mind sharing one of your sticky situations you had surfing this wave?
Yeah, it was probably a little while ago now, but you know, it was a morning before the event started, and it was probably in about the 8 to 10 foot range. You know, the odd 10 footer coming through. I caught the first wave of the set, big mistake, and you know, didn't come out of the barrel, and then copped the next 2 or 3 waves on the head, which kind of what happened with Geordie Smith yesterday. Got washed up over the reef, and it's just not a pleasant thing. You know, you're trying to sort of do the starfish, you're getting tumbled, you're running out of air, and you know, basically there's no jet ski coming to get you, so you got to realize, hey, I'm on my own, I've got to deal with this. And you know, the whole thing in that situation is to try and stay calm. There's not much you can do to fight it, so you just got to kind of go with the flow. But you know, and that wasn't even really that big. It was probably, you know, half the size of what it was yesterday, and it really did bash me around. So it's a wave that will teach you a lesson if you drop your guard just that little bit.
And so even the legends of the sport dealing with the impact zone here at Chopu, Tahiti, which makes you want to reflect back on some of the past champions that we've had here at the Billabong Pro. It's a heavy list going to last year, a dream win for Ace Buchan over Kelly Slater. Mick Fanning finally got his first win over Joel Parkinson in 2012. Kelly, Andy were always the usual suspects, and then the Bobby Martinez run was incredible to watch in smaller Chopu size. Bruno Santos, Manoa Drolet broke all the records with an all wildcard heat that year.
Yeah, that was amazing, and you know, it is one of those events that where someone steps up. It's a wild card event. You know, there's that unknown entity. You just got to have a look at the way Aritz approached his heat. Those heats can happen. You know, the big guys have got to be on their game. They've got to like not drop their guard one little bit when it comes to the lower seeds. This wave is a wave of surprises. And if you're not in the right place at the right time, not only will the wave teach you a lesson, but your opponent will sneak through.
Well, that makes us start getting excited for round 3 matchups. That'll be happening tomorrow with the swell on the increase as well. Speaking of wild cards, Nathan Hedge will have an opportunity to spar against current world #1 Gabriel Medina. Potts, you've been around pro surfing for a long time. If someone's world #1, is that the best surfer in the world at that time?
Absolutely. I mean, without a doubt, unless there's someone out there we don't know about. By all means, bring him on, and I'll put Gabe up against him any day. But, you know, Gabriel's obviously proven himself so far this year in all kinds of conditions. You know, he's had a couple of hiccups, but, you know, consistently one of the best.
Having a look, Mitch Crews doesn't get a tube on the takeoff. He'll just kick out, not opting for a turn section. Low-scoring heat at the moment with Mitch Crews at a 0.5 and Miguel Pupo with a 0.83. And so slow scores continue. We'll think about equipment now on a smaller size here. What's your take on what Mitch Crews has been running throughout this event?
You know, Mitch is, you know, he's not a huge guy, but he's super strong and powerful, and that's why he's on a 6.2. You know, he wants to get into those waves. 18.75, 2.31, 27.76 volume. You know, it's pretty standard board for a guy out here. Futures lost quad, and it's a pintail, so that's an MX Stacy surfboards. You know, Mitch Crews is opting for that pintail on his backhand just so he can, you know, knife into that barrel and sort of holds it a bit better. And that quad setup, a lot of guys are opting to use that quad.
There seems to be this additional dimension that's been talked a lot about this season, specifically, Potts, about weight of your surfboard, how much it actually weighs, needing heavier equipment sometimes for Jeffreys Bay, depending on the individual. Do you have kind of a recipe for coming to Tahiti and kind of the weight that you want in your surfboard?
Yeah, you want something a little heavier. Obviously, you want something that's is going to drive through the barrel, something that's not going to snap on the first wave. We've seen a lot of boards get snapped. So, you know, these guys are, you know, for me, I had 6-ounce glass on my boards coming here. Nice and heavy. You know, you want that momentum. You want that stability too, because there's a lot of bump, and you know, when that white water shoots up the face, if your board's super light, it's going to react really quickly. So you want something that drives through that.
So now with 23 minutes, 45 seconds on the clock, Mitch Crews 0.47 and a 0.5. Miguel Pupo with just a 0.83. on his opening attempt. As we want to know how you are watching the Billabong Pro Tahiti, let's check in with our feed and hear from our two-time Women's World Champ, Carissa Moore, checking in. She remembered the hashtag Billabong Pro Tahiti, and she's spending her afternoon watching the action. Well, Carissa, for us, we can't wait to see you back in that yellow jersey, competing for her third world title this year, Potts. Yeah,
she's got a little AI photo on the corner there. Good on you, Carissa. Look forward to seeing you at Trestles. I look forward to seeing you light it up at Trestles.
She's going to be dangerous there. Back to the action. Mitch Crews on a short wave. Up and out. Just a 0.5, 0.47 as he's staying active out in this lineup. Mitch Crews is staying up and with one of the families here on the point, with a lot of Aussies like Josh Kerr, Kai Otten, Adam Melling. And he's getting a lot of advice from people walking around. Joel Parkinson was giving him suggestions because he's from his same turf back home. You see that in surfing sometimes, where regions will kind of help each other out, even though they could end up competing against each other someday.
Absolutely right. You know, you just got to look at Ace and Matty Wilco and Glenn Micro Hall as we see Miguel Pupo.
Here comes the glide in, already stalling with that back arm on the takeoff. It won't let him in. He has to kick out. Low scores will continue with 22 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock. Potts, when is it going to come down to needing to throw down a big turn on that inside corner?
Well, at the moment it's still, I mean, these guys have just watched that last heat, right? And both Aritz and Freddie got some pretty sick barrels. So that's what I'm saying about how amazing Aritz is. I mean, his, you know, the heat before it with Julian Wilson, and these guys were battling to get waves. There was absolutely nothing out there. Julian and Tiago, I mean, Tiago got a couple little quick in and outs. You know, Julian found it really hard to even find a wave out there. Aritz paddles out and gets a 9+ ride on his opening wave. So, and then these guys come back in the next heat. It's kind of those ebbs and flows at the moment. We get one good heat, one bad heat. It's kind of almost the trend at the moment.
As we see Hawaiian Sebastian Zietz preparing in the channel for Alejo Muniz coming up next. We've seen how deadly Sebastian has been in ways like Pipeline. Former Triple Crown champ is coming up in 21 minutes and 22 seconds. He's one of those exciting rookies that came on tour last year. Didn't get the Rookie of the Year honor, Potts, but he showed signs of brilliance both in Pipe and with Fiji and Rio with a quarterfinal. As we go back to this one, Miguel Pupo, all setup work to start. He will turn. Beautiful front side carve. Deep off the bottom, snaps it high off the top. And now he'll kick out. This will be interesting to see how the judges react to a maneuver wave.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Joe. This is going to be very interesting. Now we're seeing guys just drop down and go around those sections. Miguel, first guy so far in this event to really produce some good turns, and see how smooth and crisp those turns were. Let's see where the judges fit that in. It doesn't look like they like that very much, so Miguel's going to go back to his old ways. He's going to start hunting the barrel again, but watch this turn. Wham! I mean, that turn on a beach break, we're looking at up in the 6-point range. Here at Chopu, two big snaps on a beautiful sized wave there. Nice smooth surfing, beautiful transition between maneuvers. Look at this bottom turn. That quad, you can see it just thrusting, and right there he just plants the foot, jams the board in, lets that rail do all the work there. Beautiful carving maneuver from Miguel Pupo. 2.57, Joe.
Unreal. From the panel, just a 2.57, making it clear they're still looking for big barrels with the swell we have on hand, but amazing technique and work.
Yeah.
His style is impeccable, Potts.
Now you were asking me, when are the surfers going to realize that there's no barrels and they're going to start going to maneuvers? When are the judges going to realize that there's no barrels and start judging the maneuvers?
As we just flip the script right there, it's a balance of both acts here at the Billabong Pro Tahiti. As we look back on Miguel's career, equal 13th back-to-back in 2012 and in 2013. He had a couple of high-scoring heats, though, in those rounds. Very interesting as we see the conditions change. 19:20 to go. For more insight on those adapting to conditions, we'll send it to the desk with Ronnie, Aki, and Strider.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, talking turns. We've seen a couple of manoeuvres laid down. It's sort of the first time throughout this contest, Doc, and we kind of mentioned it earlier today before competition got underway that we might see a couple of manoeuvres. And that's the first of it.
Yeah, well, there's two examples, actually. It was Tiago against Julian. Tiago had that barrel. He'd done the first nice cutback after that barrel and got a 6.8. Probably got 0.8 for the turn. Julian, you know, he needed a 1 and he kind of fell, but he got back up. And if he went through to the inside and maybe done a couple turns, he might have got that 1.8. That's all it was. So I want these guys to start turning. barrel turn or turn barrel or something. Just mix it up for us.
Well, you can add some numbers to your score if you do get barreled and throw down some moves, because Miguel Pupo has just posted a 2.57, which tells you, if he did get tubed as well, it would have been a pretty significant jump in the score.
Yeah, you know what? Like, you just saw these guys come out of the barrel. I mean, coming out on the face and doing turns. Like you said, if Julian would have just gotten onto the face of that last wave, even though he fumbled the beginning, maybe a turn, even a floater on the inside, just the Hail Mary floater, he would have got the score probably. So, interesting enough, him not going for it, but you just saw these guys, Miguel just throwing down a huge carve in the bowl, and you follow that up with a tube, or, off of a tube. It'd be a solid score.
Well, there is the scoring criteria. I think Joe and Potts have really hit the nail on the head. The judges are still seeing some pretty big barrels out there at the moment, and if you are going to add to your score, come out of the barrel, you better do a seriously committed manoeuvre. The kind of cutbacks that Andy Irons used to do, we mentioned it earlier, they had to give Andy scores because they were just so committed, those manoeuvres.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of in that size now. We're talking barrel, and then we've seen Joel do it too, just a huge cutback and one of those big rebounds. The judges will give you 2 more points if you do that. I mean, they have done over the past years, so why should they be any different today? I don't know. I'd like to see that starting to happen.
You got so much speed coming off the tail end of these waves. It'd be cool to see him use it and watch those guys throw down those huge rail carves back up into the bowl, hit that whitewash with some control. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen Andy, Slater, Parko. Love to see some more of it.
Yeah, so if there's any surfers watching, take note in these next coming heats.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Let's see if these guys start to lay down some big committed manoeuvres after the barrel, boys.
Well, Ronnie, remember back in 2010, Pakadauskas did that rodeo flip against Chris Davidson back when this was a mid-season rotation. That was kind of a smaller Chopu event that season.
It was, yeah, but Gadauskas saving his spot on the tour with that heat win. It was amazing. That was during the mid-year rotation. But you know what? I think it's there. The wall's there. I think maybe what's happening at the moment possibly is the guys still have a little bit of that hangover fear of kicking out of a wave and maybe seeing a set behind it. What do you think the reason is that they're not riding them right through to the inside?
Maybe, yeah, it's true. I mean, it's pretty west, but it's not the case. I mean, it's not that big now, and there's a nice channel to get out of right there. The water just rips out after you catch a wave. So I wouldn't think so, but yeah, that's a good point.
Also, could be that they're just, these guys are going so fast after the end of these rides. I mean, you'd see them coming out of the bowl. A lot of them just can't even, they're flipping off their boards. The boards are getting away from them. It's almost dangerous the way they're kicking out of the wave because of that speed. And sometimes harnessing that speed into a rail turn, it's not easy. It's definitely not, and they don't want to fall off during that and actually take away from their score too. So there's also a risk involved in there maybe they don't want to take.
Yeah, well, conditions are changing heat to heat. We saw the last heat with huge numbers posted by both Aritz Aranaburu and Fred Patashia. A really close battle there. It could be the case in the final stages of this clash. Just under 16 minutes remaining. We'll throw it back to you, Joe.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie. As we check right back in with some of those big numbers, Fred Patashia shaking that one off. Another tough loss for Freddie P. As you reflect back on the heavy year that he's had, Potts, we go back to the Gold Coast. Freddie P had that heat with CJ Hobgood. It was a 13.53 total to a 13.2 total. He tried to recover, went to Margaret River. He had a heat with Bede. He had a 12.76 total to Bede's 13.03 total. Super tight. He showed a lot of frustration. Ended up in Brazil with a tiebreak situation with Alejo. Didn't go his way. That's when he was emotional, shared how this roller coaster was going for him. And then in Fiji, lost by less than half of the point to Gabriel Medina. He's happy with that one, though, because he got some amazing rides. Back to this one with Miguel Pupo. Waiting. Another wave where he has to kick out.
Yeah, you got to feel for Freddie P. He's been surfing incredibly well. Something's got to give.
Next wave, a solid one. Pulling on the brakes. Right into the pit is Mitch Crews. Great timing and a successful make for the rookie to come back in the seat.
Wow, well, that was a good one from Mitch Crews. And that's what you got to do here. You got to just throw yourself over the ledge, grab that rail, set those fins, and pray that the thing stays open. Look at this one right here. Beautiful takeoff. See him, he hit the brakes and pulled straight in there. It's not going to be a huge score for Mitch, but that is going to give him so much more confidence, knowing that the fact that that board is going to handle when he rams the rail into the water right there. pulls the board up high and tight and comes out nice and clean. So Mitch Crews starting to work out what you got to do here at Chopu on your backhand.
Well, you see those waves can still come out of nowhere for a rookie like this, adapting to a whole new climate, coming to Tahiti for the first time to battle it out. He got advice from some guys on tour. Next time you see a little swell coming here, book a flight, spend a little bit of time in this lineup. And he has so much going on as a rookie. He just signed a new deal with Reef. He has so many things that he has to do as a pro surfer and preparing for each event. Sometimes it's hard to cram it all into 1 year, and you have to really balance it out over the next couple of seasons. That score locks in for Mitch at a 5.17, takes the lead. We'll be right back for more after this.
If we look at the world water crisis, it's overwhelming. It's not about going out there and trying to save the world. It's about going out there and doing your part. And nobody said you couldn't have fun while you're helping people.
Welcome back to one of the most amazing slabs on the planet, a place called Chopu. You're watching the Billabong Pro Tahiti, the 7th stop on the Samsung Galaxy ASP World Championship Tour. Rookie Mitch Crews just took the lead off Miguel Pupo, dropping a 5.17 for a clean backside tube ride, and Pupo needs a 4.21 to have an answer back. Joe Chappelle alongside former world champ Martin Potter as the conditions remain a little bit sleepy. The good news is, though, we have more waves on the way this week. We're going to have maybe an increase in size come for round 3 tomorrow.
That's exactly right. And then there's more swell behind it, Joe. So the contest is looking in good shape. There's plenty of swell coming, plenty of time left in the waiting period. And obviously the commissioner's going to keep a very close eye on the maps and decide when to run. But at the moment it is tricky, but these guys have got to work it out. Miguel Pupo has obviously tried a different approach on that last, not the last wave, the one before. Did a couple of beautiful turns on it. The judge gave it a 2.57, so Miguel's got to go back to basics, go back to trying to find those barrels. Mitch Crews did on his last ride a 5.17, took the lead. Now Mitch needs a result here. He's ranked number 25 in the world. That top 22 is where you want to be, so Mitch right there.
Well, it's been interesting watching Mitch Crews throughout his pro junior career. It was one of the best Aussie pro juniors of all time. Even came close to winning a World Junior Championship when we had a 3-event season. It came down to the wire between him and one of his best friends, Jack Freestone. Mitch lost a very close heat at North Narrabeen against former Rookie of the Year, Nat Young. Nat was not on his home court, and he felt all the energy against him because he beat the Aussie that they're hoping would win that heat and win that World Junior Championship. It was Mitch's first real devastating loss. He was that close, one heat away from winning a world title. You go back in history to World Championships. Obviously, you won one back in the 80s. Potts, I'm sure you had a lot of examples of that over the last few decades of guys just being a couple of heats away from trying to win one.
I was talking to Taj a couple of days ago and sort of questioned him on those years that he had where he came real close, a couple of seconds, came second a few times. But, and there is those instances, there's those heats that even Taj said, yeah, I remember one heat that had I won it, that would have been the thing that's put me into the world title. So yeah, you do remember those, and those hurt. And what Taj pretty much said was, I've forgotten about them all. You want to just get rid of those thoughts, get rid of those bad memories, but still use them as that learning curve. And I think that's what you got to do. Win, lose or draw, you've got to go back and check out your heat, watch what you did, analyze. Because if you look at it, somewhere along the line you made a little mistake, gone for the wrong wave. Maybe took yourself out of the lineup by catching a closeout, gave the guy priority, he ended up getting the wave. There's all these little things that happen in a heat. It's not just the scores that make you lose, it's those little decisions throughout the heat. And I think if you really go back and analyze, the heat from start to finish, and you've lost, along the way there's something you didn't do right.
Now at 9 on the clock, these are all the things that Mitch Crews is learning at such a fast pace as he is battling with Dion Atkinson for that Rookie of the Year honor. Just those two guys. We had Aritz and Jadson just re-qualify, so they've already gone through that rookie season. But that'll be the focus. Mitch versus Dion. You only have one chance to win it. We saw Nat Young with a solid pack last year take that honor. Owen Wright in the past. Julian Wilson had to earn it as well. It's an amazing accomplishment, stepping up to a top 34 for the first time and doing that much damage.
Absolutely right. You know, Nat Young did some incredible damage last year, and he's back on the track again doing damage this year, surfing so well. I was really impressed with his performance yesterday. You know, he attacked this wave like it was a beach break. He really took off on some gnarly waves, made the drop look easy, and then just powered through the barrel. So Nat Young looking solid. And as you said, that Rookie of the Year thing, Matt, that's a really big accolade that you want to get.
Well, it's on at the Billabong Pro Tahiti as round 2 continues. Mitch Crews with the lead. Remember, first priority is with Miguel Pupo. That first wave just going underneath him, spinning and spitting into the channel. Pupo wants the next one. Nice glide in from the ledge, wide open pit. Arms spread wide, and he'll kick out onto the shoulder. It was a big cavern. Didn't spend a ton of time deep in the barrel, but he needs a 4.21 to answer back. Mitch Crews is going to let the next one go through.
Yeah, too much whitewater on that next one, but Miguel Pupo, that was definitely so far the wave of the heat. And there is a little bit of pulse in the ocean right now as we see Miguel. Have a look at this beautiful drop there, drags the hand, and then just stands tall in the belly of the beast and comes flying out untouched. So Miguel Pupo making sure he made that. He knew he needed to get a completed ride to get a good score on the board and try and get that lead back. Just a 4.21 required from Miguel Pupo. Definitely the biggest wave, definitely the most critical one so far. It's in the judges' hands, and is that going to be that 4.21?
Miguel Pupo looking to answer back. He's made a few quarterfinals in his career, just one this year. And when he lost to Joel Parkinson, he made one at the last event of the season at the Pipe Masters, where he also lost to Joel Parkinson, and he just has one other quarterfinal appearance in his career back in France in 2012. Few appearances, hasn't broken that quarterfinal streak yet. We saw him at the midseason rotation with Medina and John Florence. How did you see him handle that kind of dark horse feeling against John and Gabriel Medina's hype?
I think he's handled it well. You know, I think, you know, Miguel's just got his own little way of running things. He's, you know, super smooth. I think he's the Jerry Lopez of our new modern era. The guy, as you saw in that last wave. Here we go.
Mitch Crews, late takeoff, fin slide out. He's able to recover, but he has to straighten out, and he misses the barrel. Risky takeoff, sliding his fins out, but keeping his head over his board to pull that one off.
Wow, that was incredible. That was a gnarly drop there from Mitch Crews. And when you lose those fins down the face of the wave, Joe, that pretty much spells disaster here at Chopu. We've seen a lot of guys do that, and a lot of guys come unstuck. I remember yesterday, Michel Perez did it, snapped his board. Saw Bede do it. He didn't come out of the barrel and absolutely got pumped. So that was a pretty good technique there from Mitchell Crews.
Well, Potts, I ask you questions all day long. Let's take a fan question from you guys out there. Thanks for joining the conversation. A question for former world champ Martin Potter from Mitch Sal, saying, what is the best heat ever at the Billabong Pro Tahiti? Great question, Mitch, and thanks for hashtagging Billabong Pro Tahiti. Potts, is there one that's popping into your brain right now?
Yeah, I think the Kelly-Bruce final comes to mind straight off the bat. That was amazing. Bruce had Kelly against the ropes. Kelly came back, posted a 10-point ride. That was probably one of the heats where you saw Kelly really get pushed. You know, that took someone like Bruce Irons to do it. Normally Kelly, once he makes it to the finals, he has it his own way, but it wasn't the case, and he really did have to dig deep, and that's when you see the best come out of those kind of guys.
Really impressive back in that heat. Bruce Irons had Kelly comboed, and he did that wave that we'll never forget, the drop heard around the world, where he fell out of the sky into the flats. He was so flexible, he was able to regain composure in the barrel.
In the barrel, yep. He was literally he was winding up the windows and the barrel was over him already. Bottom turned in the barrel, somehow regathered his composure, twisted his body back around, came flying out, got a 10. And then all of a sudden that carried on to the next one and he got himself out of combo.
That switch turned on for the rest of the event.
And that was the heat where he took off and had a beer while he was in the barrel as well.
That amazing
just to
final.
finish off, yeah. So that was pretty pretty amazing stuff. I mean, you know, the Code Red Swell final to me was amazing as well with Owen Wright. You know, Owen was pretty much to me the only guy that probably could have stopped him that year. You know, and the swell was kind of dropping. Owen was opting for the big ones. He sat and waited. Kelly went to work on the inside on the 6 to 8 footers and just got those really long drain pipe barrels. So, I mean, you just got to go back. There's been so many unbelievable times and finals and even heats here at Chopu.
Great question, Mitch Sal. Keep hashtagging Billabong Pro Tahiti and hashtag Ask Potts, and he'll give you that special insight. Amazing memories back here at the Billabong Pro Tahiti, no matter what the size. We were lucky enough to have an historic day in round 1. Got a perfect 10 from Nathan Hedge. Smaller conditions today, but as we just saw, there's still plenty of size. Pupo just locked in a 5.83. Here he goes again, deep behind that first section, trying to create a miracle going over the foam ball. And we've lost Pupo down on the inside, so his low score is still a 2.57. He does have the lead. Mitch Crews to second with priority. Let's see what happened here, Potts.
Yeah, you know, once you get behind the foam ball, so to speak, as you see that broke right in front of him, and what that does is it shoots whitewater right up the face of the wave. He almost came out of that. He did. He rode up and over the foam ball and then just lost it right at the end. So unbelievable technique. And, you know, Miguel Pupo, you just got to go back to the Pipe Masters last year, and that wave that he got was just unbelievable. You know, he's super good in the barrel. He's got great technique. He's got such good positioning. And the thing is with this kid, he doesn't give up on himself. He hangs in there till the bitter end, and that's what makes him such a good tube rider.
Such this finesse element in his surfing. We saw the carving work he did. Didn't get much of a score for that wave at 2.57. He improved on that just with that last effort. Judges showing they still want you to ride the tube. A 2.77 for not making it increases the total just a little bit. Mitch Crews needs a 3.44, holding priority with 2:20 to go.
You know, that's incomplete tube ride was better than his 2 big turns on the face. So the judges are still looking for the barrel, quite rightly so. There's still some bombs out there, and here we go, Mitch Crews having a look.
Needs a 3.44 here. Crews pulls straight into the barrel. He has a great line, and he makes it. Falls on the shoulder, but the hard part was already completed, and only needing a 3.44. We just talked about how they're loving the tube rides, and we'll see if that's enough for a lead change, Potts.
I think that could be, Joe. I think that's, you know, that's going to be deemed a complete ride. You can see not going to the bottom of the wave, just angling straight in, grabbing the rail, pulling up nice and tight, and there he comes flying out of that barrel and then just catches that rail. So it's going to be deemed a complete barrel. Let's see how long he was in there for. Pulls up nice and tight, super critical, just ducking under the lip there. A little bonus section at the end. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty good score, and I dare say he's going to turn the tables on Miguel Pupo.
So a big part of the heat for Mitch Crews, trying to come from behind. We talked about the great start for Mitch this season, making round 5 and losing to Mick Fanning in front of his hometown crowd. Since then, we've seen some up and down performances, a real challenging effort he had down at the J-Bay Open. He was vocal about how disappointed he was because it was a wave where he knew he could perform. We saw him fall on almost every wave he took in that last heat. Now he came into Tahiti, and he felt himself being the underdog, the dark horse. He was vocal about saying, hey, people are saying I'm not supposed to do well. And everyone reminded him, hey, you have to wipe all that out.
Exactly.
You're part of the top 34, and you're going to be ready to perform.
Well, you know, you've got to figure you're good enough to make it here, you're good enough to win. You know, that's what I reckon. I mean, you know, if wildcards can come out of nowhere and win this event, then you sure can. You know, you've just got to believe in that. You know, you've got to believe in your own ability. You've got to believe that you've done the hard work and you belong here. And the quicker you realize that, you know, you look at Matt Young, he believed that from day dot, and that's why he's done so well. You know, the kids that are finding it hard on the world tour, the kids that are doubting that ability, they're doubting whether they can match it up with the good guys. You got to push all that aside and say, hey, I belong here. This is as much mine as it is theirs.
Well, right now, Crews does get the lead with a 5.0. Pupo needs a 4.34, and you can see the frustration from Miguel Pupo, an amazing forehand tube rider, out of the event in round 2 with an equal 25th. Miguel's worst result in his career here at the Billabong Pro Tahiti.
Yep. Well, you know what? I tell you what, a lot of people would have had their money on Miguel, and Mitchell Crews came up. This is an event keeps producing upsets, Joe.
Upsets continue. More heats to come. Hawaiian Sebastian Zietz against Alejo Moniz from Brazil right after this.